One of the biggest and most overlooked fundamentals in the game of golf has to be the way golfers address the ball. And I say this to golfers of lots of different standards, because quite often we might see a golfer who's quite proficient at the game of golf gets into some bad habits. Maybe they hit the ball to the right hand side too much, so they start aiming to the left hand side too much, or vice versa. They hit the ball left, so they start aiming right to compensate. So I would encourage you at any level of the game of golf to focus on your alignment. It's a dead simple quick check, and it should give you some real confidence that when you stand to the golf ball and hit the right shot, you're aiming in the right direction and you're going to aim directly towards your target. Now, when we talk about alignment, there's lots of different things that we can aim, because there's lots of different things that affect where the golf ball goes. One of the primary issues is the club face. The golf ball is guided by where the club face is aiming at the point of impact. So we want to make sure the club has the best chance of delivering a straight and square club face at the point of impact by making sure it starts there. So simply look at the bottom line on your golf club, the bottom groove, and make sure that is 90 degrees or perpendicular to your intended target. So when I lay that down behind the golf ball, I'm imagining a laser coming out of the club face and pointing at my intended target. So my target here is going to be this black box in front of me, which is actually a range TrackMan, which is pointing back here so all the golfers can see where they're aiming their shots. We're going to point that directly towards there, and I know that's pointing in the right direction, and then my ball should go straighter. The next thing I'm going to look at aiming is going to be my body. Now, the first checkpoint here is my toes. I'd like to lay a club across my toes, and then I can walk back and I can check that I'm aiming in the right direction. And that's a really simple checkpoint that golfers up and down the country and around the world should be checking on a very regular basis, is putting a club on their toes. I would encourage you to do that a dozen times every time you're out on the golf course, all around the driving range. Every 10 shots or so, just drop that club down and check that you're aiming in the right direction. If you're aiming to the side, you might start to notice that either that's where the golf ball goes, or you have a fault in your swing that's trying to correct where the golf ball goes. Next things we can consider aiming would be the knees, the hips, and also the shoulders. Generally speaking, you should follow your toes. So if my toes are pointing towards that black box, my toes, knees, hips and shoulders should also all be pointing in the right direction. Very rarely would I see a golfer who has a big twist in their shoulders or something like that, but it's well worth checking. Good way of checking that: address the golf ball, grip down with your bottom hand low on the club, pull that across your chest, and just make sure that points towards your intended target. Now, if we're being really specific about this, the golf ball and the feet don't quite point in exactly the same direction. And I say if we're being really specific, if I'm aiming at something as far away as that black box, which is 100 yards away, if that was a flag or the hole, I'm going to say your feet and your club should point at the hole, no problem. How about if I bring that to let's say a 3-foot putt here? Should my feet and my club point in exactly the same direction? Well, not quite, because you can see that if that was my ball to target line, that's where I'm going to aim my putter. If I had my feet also pointing towards the same hole, then now I've got this big triangle, which isn't ideal. That's going to cause me a little bit of a cross up. So to be very clear on this, if we're being really particular, the feet point this far left of where the ball points. Now, it doesn't make a difference over 100 yards, 200 yards, tee shots or anything like that, but on very short putts, we want to understand the principle that the knees, the feet, the hips and the shoulders all aim this far left. Parallel left, we call it. It's like having two train lines. These two train lines never merge and never meet. Longer shots, don't worry too much about that. Shorter putts, consider that the club points in one direction, the feet point parallel left, and then when you make your putt, you're hitting down towards your hole. Hopefully, if you get a good understanding of that, you've got a great feeling for good quality alignment in golf.